Fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 10 wins, 1 loss. She stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 136 pounds. Fighting out of Manaus, Amazonas, Brazil, presenting the number 7 ranked bantamweight contender in the world, Ketlen Vieira!
Dakota Ditcheva looks unstoppable right now, but what if the woman to finally break her undefeated streak isn't a striker? What if it's a pressure-heavy UFC grappler who was literally cut from the UFC after winning?
Some kick to the and a left hand from Dakota. Immediately, this gonna fight that tie plum. And Nava knows how dangerous these blocks. Here's that tie plum, knee to the face. All in this tie plum for Dakota Ditcheva. Just where Dakota Ditcheva hunts the liver, she will attack with body shots. Combination and clinches. Oh, the clinch is really working for Ditcheva. She gets the knee, finds its way to the face of Sumiko Nava, and an elbow from Dakota.
More knee here, backed against the fence.
All knees, the left hand.
Because this fight isn't about flashy knockouts, it's about whether Dakota Ditcheva can survive real veteran pressure. And honestly, Ketlen Vieira might be the worst possible matchup Dakota has ever faced. Dakota Ditcheva has become one of the most feared women in combat sports. 15 fights, 15 wins, 12 knockouts, and almost nobody has been able to survive her striking.
She's hammering away. Referee was looking closely at Lisa Malden. Looked for a moment like she was going to be finished. But no point in this woman. Another knee to the midsection. Left hand coming down from the top. Fight. Ditcheva asked her to stand back up. More body shots. This one.
Dakota fights with terrifying precision. Her Muay Thai background makes her one of the sharpest strikers in women's MMA today. She doesn't just punch hard, she systematically destroys opponents. Body shots, front kicks, knees up the middle, fast combinations. Everything she throws feels calculated. That's why her fights barely last longer than a round and a half. And right now, many fans genuinely believe Dakota Ditcheva could become the future face of women's MMA. But then there's Ketlen Vieira, and Ketlen doesn't care about hype. Ketlen Vieira spent years fighting elite competition inside the UFC. She fought world-class veterans, she beat ranked contenders, and despite being ranked near the top of the division, the UFC still released her. That decision shocked fans, especially because Vieira was coming off a win. But analysts believe the UFC moved on because of her decision-heavy style. And honestly, that's where things get dangerous for Dakota Ditcheva, because Ketlen Vieira isn't built to entertain. She's built to control. Ketlen is one of the strongest clinch fighters in women's MMA. She's a black belt in both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. And her entire game revolves around pressure, trips, cage control, and physical dominance.
Cage so the Ketlen
She's in
can't.
trouble.
Oh,
She got it.
She got it.
Wow.
Ketlen Vieira stalls Sarah McMahon to remain undefeated. There is a new contender at 135 pounds. Enter Ketlen Vieira, brought to tears.
You see Ketlen on top, and she eventually secures it by getting her her head to the side of Sarah's arm. Now, once she's got that hand locked in, now she's putting the squeeze down.
She doesn't rush, she doesn't panic. She slowly drains opponents, and once fighters get trapped against the cage, she starts landing heavy elbows, knees, and grinding pressure. Now statistically, Ketlen only has 2 KO wins in her entire career. So no, she's not some terrifying knockout artist like Dakota, but her power is different. It's bruising power. the kind that wears opponents down over time, and that style could become a nightmare for an undefeated striker. Technically speaking, Dakota Ditcheva is still the faster and more explosive fighter. Her striking is cleaner, sharper, far more dangerous at range. If this stays standing in open space, Dakota could absolutely piece Ketlen apart.
Sprinkle by TKO or KO, I will tell you the confidence that she's going to have now getting up is going to be unbelievable. And there it is.
Beautiful knee from the plum.
And Ditcheva beckons Jenna Bishop back to her feet and goes immediately on the attack. Oh,
Bishop in trouble.
And that does it. First round finish, and Dakota Ditcheva silences.
But this matchup becomes very controversial once the distance closes because Dakota has never truly faced someone with Ketlen Vieira's level of physical grappling pressure. That's the biggest question here. Can Dakota stop the clinch game? Can she stop the trips? Can she stop a veteran fighter from slowing the pace down? Because once Ketlen gets her hands on opponents, the fight changes completely. She has a 90% takedown defense herself, meaning she's extremely difficult to control or reverse. And her veteran cage IQ allows her to force ugly fights. That matters, especially against younger, undefeated fighters who are used to dominating early. And here's the scary part for Dakota Ditcheva fans. Ketlen Vieira doesn't need to knock Dakota out to ruin her. She only needs to frustrate her, slow her down, trap her against the cage, force her into long grappling exchanges. And suddenly the momentum changes, because undefeated fighters sometimes struggle the moment they can't fight comfortably anymore.
Santos is in big trouble. She's in big trouble.
Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship.
Still, Dakota Ditcheva remains dangerous every second. The fight stays standing. One clean knee, one body shot, one counter combination, and she could instantly change the fight. That's why this matchup feels so fascinating. It's explosive violence versus suffocating control, speed versus pressure, chaos versus experience. So the real question is this: can Ketlen Vieira become the first woman to expose Dakota Ditcheva's undefeated record? Or does Dakota prove she's simply too dangerous for everyone? Because if Ketlen can survive the early storm, this could become the hardest fight of Dakota Ditcheva's entire career.